live. Everybody's mics is on.
Sweet.
Let me.
Did I do it right?
As far as I know, I had you.
We don't have time to do it again. So yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. This is live, dude. It's done. Whatever
Whoops.
it is.
You get one shot and that's it.
So, everybody, what's up, Planet Earth? My name is Adrian. Welcome to Books by Adrian. This is Livestream Sunday. This is a thing on my channel forever now, is what I'm doing. These two fine gentlemen above my head, we have Gonzalo Lara and Matthew Fries. Is it Fries or Fries?
That one, the second one, the latter.
Fries.
Yeah.
Yes.
I figured.
But
I'm probably
we call him
still going to
Fries.
call you Mr. Fries.
That's totally fine. Everyone does.
These two gentlemen are creators of an online comic on Instagram called Freddy and Orvil. And it's hilarious and it's adorable. And I freaking love it. And so we're here to talk about it today. Gentlemen, maybe we'll start with Gonzalo, because I've known you the longest. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Tell them what you do for a living. What's going on, and then we'll move over to Matt.
Okay, cool. So yeah, my name's Gonzalo. I know I feel very pressured now. By day,
you need to nail this, dude.
Okay.
Because it's
by
live.
day.
This is
By day,
Eminem up in here. You got one
It's
shot.
live. We can't redo
Okay.
this. That's how it is.
Do not miss your chance to blow.
Okay, it's too much pressure. All right, so I'm back. I had a moment. So I'm a ballroom dance instructor by day, also by night and on the weekends, and then in the minuscule moments in between there, my buddy Matt and I have created. Wait, where are you? I don't know how to.
I still haven't figured that part out.
Freddy and Orvil, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I'm living in Southern California, just enjoying the super awesome heat and fires and smog and stuff.
Are the skies still orange?
No, they're a beautiful bluish green.
Okay.
Matt knows what I'm talking about.
Dude, when I heard that the skies were orange over there, I was just like, all right, it's Mad Max now. Like, let's just fucking do it.
Yeah.
We're going to bust out your cosplay. We're going in.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Max.
I'm about to put some spikes on my car. Matt, how about you? Why don't you introduce yourself?
But you're going to dress up in Florida for chaos that's happening in California.
He's prepared.
Yeah, I want to be first in the door. I don't want to be the dude that finds out that shit has gone bad.
Needless to say, it's never an issue anymore, and he never gets mugged, right?
I'm gonna be in there on the ground floor. Just all right. Let's go nuts, guys.
He's the first man.
Nothing happens. And Adrian's still dressed up like an all leather with spikes everywhere. He's just like, yeah, no, that's cool. Let's go to Starbucks.
Best Monday ever.
I'm always looking at my watch like, guys,
come on, movie.
Like they're the ones who are crazy for not being all like spiked up,
decked out. Yeah, come on, get it together.
Matthew,
you don't have a head on a spike? Come on.
Yeah. So I'm Matthew Fries. I'm a freelance graphic designer at the moment, living in Bend, Oregon, so the middle of Oregon. We had fires as well, but everything's cleared up. Looks beautiful. Looks amazing.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Help co-create with Gonzalo, Freddy and Orvil. He writes the stories, makes them all gorgeous and beautiful in storyboard form. I make them prettier and do kind of final edits. And then I also have a younger son who's 2 years old. He's not here at the moment. He's off at grandma's doing that thing. So yeah, loving it and living in surrounded by trees and forest and random deer that'll pop up in my backyard. It's great.
Nice. See, that's actually what I want. I want to move up to like Colorado or something up in the mountains where lots of forests, lots of lakes that I can like,
Oh yeah,
breathe and.
It's weird at first because it's Bend is probably the biggest town in Central Oregon, but it's smaller than every city I've lived in before. So it's much quieter. So it was difficult at first to sleep because I'm used to car noise. And then after that, getting used to the fact that there's only one target. And if they're out of something, there's nowhere else to go unless you want to drive like 3 hours. So that's been a learning curve. But other than that, tons of fun. I also need a bigger car. I have a Honda Fit that is grossly, outsized every time I go to the store.
I need a car that doesn't need a new thing fixed every 7 days. Like I'm just always constantly playing catch up.
Oh, with all the mechanic stuff. Yeah, that's the one upside that I've had of that car is just oil changes and no problems. And it's taken me across the country at least like 5 times.
A few times.
Yeah, I only had one car my entire life that way, and it was because it was a brand new car, and it got repoed like 6 months later.
It was too good to be true,
One issue.
That was the only.
At least it wasn't mechanical. That was still a very reliable car. Still a very reliable.
You had one job car.
You had one job car.
Yeah, one job.
On yourself.
So you mentioned that he writes them, the comic.
Yes.
And then you polish. Explain that. Like, are you both doing art, or is he literally writing and you, Matt, are doing the artwork? How's the division of labor?
Yeah, so like I do the initial sketches of the ideas, like what's the picture in my head, like what I'm seeing.
Okay.
But I'll have an idea, I'll hear something random, and then I'm like, oh my God, this might be funny. And so then that's kind of like my writing portion. And a lot of times actually, and Matt has to give himself a little bit of credit here because I bounce ideas off of him. Because I'm like, is this funny? Or is this just funny to me? And so then he'll tell me, yes, it's hilarious, or stop, put down the crack pipe and move forward with life. And then I'll do like a little sketch. I actually have one right here, right? That was the Florida. Yeah, I know. I was prepared. But yeah, so like I did like a little sketch, right? And then I'll send it to Matt.
Hold on. I gotta do my producer deal.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, hold that shit up.
So yeah, so I'll do the little sketch, right? And then I'll send it to Matt, and then Matt goes, let me take this piece of shit and make it look beautiful. And then he does. And then Matt, you can talk about your part.
Yeah, well, yeah, so basically, Gonzo goes haywire on thinking like, oh, this scenario could be cool, or the layouts of, Freddy could be here, Orville will look like this. And then, yeah, we always seem to co-collaborate on endings. Like, hey, how could this end, or how does that look? So then I take it and I stick it into Adobe Illustrator, where I have basically like digital puppets of Freddy and Orville. And then I make them look as closely as I can to what Gonzalo drafted up, like as close as I can. And then do some really cool background work. And then, yeah, make it super pretty and then put it out there in the world. Sometimes I'll also add in little like Easter eggs and like subtle, funny things that I think helps build up the scene that weren't there originally. Like in almost all of our original drawings, we have no background. So that's been probably the most time consuming is like, where do they live in this scene now? Because
I have the originals with me, by the way.
He has our.
I came prepared.
And so yeah,
guys,
so between those two, so Gonzo, we'll throw like
my internet went crazy for a minute there, so I actually missed a little bit of that.
No worries.
But the listeners caught it.
Okay. Ooh, Matt just got into like some really, really strong detail about his sexual life. That's all you missed.
I already heard all that stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I had to put the slings away.
So I love that
Astronaut
though,
sloth.
because you guys have this dynamic, right? Gonzalo comes up with the initial idea. He actually draws the thing. Matt then draws it better. And then you collide to come up with the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. We both end up having to agree on the end result, like what the end picture or idea or
Yeah, it's like
whatever it is we have.
It's like a relay race where he hands off the baton and then catches up to me halfway, and then we finish together. You know? Super sweet.
I like that.
That was really romantic, actually.
How
Matt.
how long does that usually take for each individual like comic? Because I know sometimes it's a single image, sometimes it's a series of images. So how long do you guys work on each one?
Well, the first one only took like 16 years, but then after that, it's been really fast.
I remember the original, man. I remember you showing it to me. You had it on that piece of paper. It looked like so beat up, like you had shown it to everyone you had ever met.
Use it as toilet paper for a while. I slept on it.
With it. Yeah.
I think,
Luckily, he's baby smooth down there, so it's not quite so dirty. In other words, you've had this thing living with you for literally as long as I've known you. Which, by the way, when did you move out there?
Well, let's see. So we came up with the idea. Yeah, I think I was in Florida in 2006, 2007. So and right. we had come up with the idea in like 2004. I think we talked about the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been kind of just ruminating in our brains, and we've always, all these years we've talked about bringing it back and how would we bring it back and what would we do with it, and nothing ever really just worked. Nothing clicked. We didn't really have a platform where we could put it out there into the world, and then 2020 happened, and then Matt was like, "Hey, man, we should just do this." And so we've been doing it.
Time after being laid off, like we could really put some time into this.
Yeah, but actually, so kind of to answer your question, because you were asking like start to finish, how long does it take? I think we're working at like it takes about a week. I think now start from like first thought to like maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd say like I think the ideas take about a week, and then when Gonzo actually sits down and draws, it can take like a day or two roughly, because he's not spending all day on it. It's always like usually at night, when everyone else is sleeping. And then for me, same thing. Like by the time I get the idea and then I hammer away on it, it could take like a day or two to try to make them digital pretty.
I like it. That's not bad. A week to a week or two.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a backlog going yet?
We do. Yeah.
Nice.
And so we're trying to stay on top of the backlog, so that way it's not. So that way we don't interrupt the flow. That way it always just feels like it's coming out.
And do you have a particular day that you put it up, or does it just go up when it's done? Like, how's it scheduling?
We're getting there. Initially, we were like, yeah, let's just do twice a week, and then we're like maybe 5 days a week. No, let's go to 3. So we're still feeling out like posting schedule, but I mean, I would say that comfortably we have enough material to probably put like 3 a week out, and not be bogged down by anything. So
nice.
Yeah, and we have and actually the funny thing about the 5 days a week thing was that I had initially come to Matt with like an idea for a whole strip, like a whole story, and then Matt was like, these are actually really good standalones.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we were like, well, let's just have 1 week where we like just throw one thing out there a day. And that's how we got the, like last week, all of our content, the social distancing, what else did we put out last week? Oh, the push-up and the home cooking, like all of that stuff was all originally, when I first came up with the idea, was all one story. And then Matt was like, dude, these are great for just like standalone things. So that's how that happened.
Yeah.
That's
where that-
awesome because
where that editing piece
they
comes
do
in.
work so well as like little joke bullets. But I was gonna ask if there was a long-term like arc or plan. And it sounds like initially there was. And so is that still sort of like in the background guiding you as you go, or have you let go of that and you're just coming up with bullets?
It feels like both. So we
Yeah.
So I think what it is that we do have like we had a rough backstory to Freddy and Orvil, right, in our minds that we used to joke about in high school when we created them, and then we started making bullet point jokes and characters that now we're having to fill in the blanks of. You know, like we have one character that just exists, but we have no idea why that person exists. So now we have to, 16 years later, fill in the blank. So we do have this overarching story to everything that helps guide us for, I'd say, the longer story comics or panels. But along the way, because of just how Gonzo and I interact with each other, it's like, dude, this would make a funny single bullet point joke. And so I'd say, like, for the longer stories, we have those and we're building towards those. But the majority of our conversations end up with these really fun single one-liners that we're like, yeah, let's put that out too. So I think eventually we'll try to push it all together. But for now, it's like, it's probably going to feel very scattered, but that's how it's going to be.
I love that. So you know what I noticed was how you guys have one for every new person who signs up or who follows you rather. You do it in your stories. You're both pointing at each other.
It's again one of those combined ideas. Gonzo led the charge on it with the shout outs. Yeah. Which, you could talk more on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're so new, and I actually got the idea from someone who's like a popular Instagram person. Like someone followed them and liked their stuff, and they posted it on their story. They're like, "Hey, thanks for liking my stuff." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like that makes people feel special." And I was like, "We could make people feel special, or we could just make fun of them and say stupid shit." And I was like, "That's a much better idea." So.
Nice.
Now, anytime we get
talk shit.
Yeah. So now, anytime we get like a new follower, like as a thank you to them, it's like, hey, here's from Freddy and Orvil, like a little something. We got a new follower yesterday, and that was fun.
I find those almost funnier than the main series because they come out of nowhere. Where like the most recent one I read is a list of like good qualities about your new follower, and then one detail was he has 12 toes. And then Freddy and Orvil are both like, wait a minute, like they just like interrupt themselves and are like, you have 12 toes. That one cracked me up because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between
That's awesome.
I'd say between that and then just the Easter eggs that we try to put in to the comics, of like just friends and other projects we've worked on. That's what makes it most fun, to try to just get our friends and kind of our life engaged. There's a really good friend of ours who we've known for a while, but we haven't seen in person in a bit. So we tag him in a lot of posts, and we try to involve him and his name in the post as much as possible, because he's kind of like a social recluse. It's kind of amazing. I don't know how he's been able to do it. So this is us just trying to pull him tooth and nail back into our lives, slowly.
Yeah. He's on the cookbook. It's his cookbook.
That's his cookbook, because he went to a chef school, so that's kind of an Easter egg that he went to chef school and puts his
So
picture
he's
on.
isolated himself and is cooking. It's not like a Unabomber situation.
Oh, no. He's good.
No.
All right.
Pretty sure he's still married and living a very happy life in our hometown.
Cool.
Yeah. He's like being successful and living like a normal person life where they like have a job and a family and stuff like that. And
I think the kids call that
Start a
adulting.
comic.
Yeah, no, none of that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to steal him back into the darkness that is our social circle.
Yeah, the void
Well,
of our
then
social
you know what you have to do. You have to break up the marriage.
Oh, is that
You got to
all?
take it apart from the inside.
That's easy. I'll just have an affair with him. Great.
Perfect.
Done.
I'll film it. It'll be great.
Coming for you.
This is
I'm so
great.
glad
for
you're
live,
Anyway,
right? Plotting someone
I know.
Plotting an
This is
affair on live stream.
it's gonna go well.
Perfect.
They'll never see us coming.
Don't don't see this backfiring in one bit.
They'll have
Yeah.
no idea,
Yeah.
and there'll be no evidence to convict us.
Great genius is right here.
Genius.
Oh man.
Oh, that was
So,
great.
what's going on outside of Freddy and Orville these days? Like, how are you guys with scheduling the rest of your life around you? Because you both seem very busy to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's
Despite
the one who
COVID.
has. Yeah. He's the one who has he's got a kid. You have kids. You know what that's like. I have no
I do
idea.
know
I
what
can
that's
only
like.
assume.
You
But he's got
don't
a
have any idea.
child. A child on the way.
Yo,
And,
congratulations, man.
Thank
You
you.
got another one on the way.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Boy, girl.
be boy. So it'll be two boys, doubling up.
Same here.
Yes, and they've decided on the name Freddy Orvil Freeze. It's beautiful, beautiful homage. No?
I love it.
Okay, well then we'll go with option number 2, Gonzalo
Hey, guys.
Freeze.
No. It's on the internet. It's already official.
Well,
And you
got a
can
sexy
never
wife.
erase it.
All right, there we go. By the way,
Yeah, tell Jelly.
Hey, honey, weird thing happened today.
so we named the kid already.
And it's legally binding.
Also,
So say it.
you might be getting a phone call about an affair that I'm planning.
Just ignore that.
Let me tell you.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, you were saying something about our busy lives. That's how this happened. I was like, how did we
Yeah.
get here?
Get back on
You
that.
barely on train of thought.
Whose show is this? Where am I?
Watch it.
Okay, cool. That was close.
So, busy lives.
Oh yeah. So I'm working, and we're in California. We're trying to get back to some semblance of normal. So I'm not back full time, but I am working pretty much every day except for the weekends. I did work yesterday, but that's been kind of crazy. And then also I'm getting married, so like working with my fiance on those things and life things. Oh, thank you. Yes, I know. I
Welcome
somehow
to the
tricked her
club.
into saying yes.
What's that? Matt.
What's
that?
I just think it's funny because then he'd be like, "Hey, honey, so guess what? You're gonna hear about me plotting an affair tonight." Like, by the way, we've also officially named the wedding on the live stream. It's
Yeah. So.
And by the way, apparently, if we have a kid, not only did we name Matt's, but we've named Gonzalo's as well as Gonzalo.
unborn. They like doesn't even exist like in the realm yet. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's named.
Twinkle in my eye. Yeah. So that's happening.
Yeah. Is planning the
But yeah.
wedding like driving you guys crazy?
Yes and no. Like we had like a coordinator helping us out, and we had my fiance. She's amazing, super organized, really really detailed. So she did that, and then I just tried to help out wherever I could. But yeah, it's at this point with everything going on, It's pretty much all planned out. It's all done. So yay.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
And you guys are
then
both
now
dancers, so your first dance is like the show of the night, right?
oh god, no, too much pressure. Nope,
No,
we
you
are
got to
going
do
to.
it, man. You guys got to choreograph a
We actually
thing.
have a 6-hour
You got
choreographed
to throw her up above your head,
studio.
all that stuff.
It's coming down on
If
wire.
anyone's going up above anyone's head, it's me. She's lifting me.
That's
She's
part of the
very
third
strong.
act, right? That's part of the third act.
She's got those biceps.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's like,
Nice.
they both
no blunt
die,
thing or
they're
anything.
resurrected. They have a baby in the middle of it. It's crazy. It's gonna be a
The
good.
baby comes out dancing.
Now that's a show, man.
Yeah.
Because I've been to that show twice.
Yeah. Excited.
Matt knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a hell of a show. Let me tell you.
Oh man. Okay, so you guys are doing this thing like around your normal lives. It goes back and forth between the two of you until you both finalize it. Where do you see it going in the future?
Oof.
Like what's pie in the sky dreams?
Pie in the sky.
Oh,
So we actually, it's kind of funny. Gonzalo hits me, I think, at least every couple of days with like another, I call it like the future goal, the future dream, right? Like my future self is going to accomplish that task by all the things that my past self does. And yeah, I think for us, it would be great to have like physical. I know like some of the goals are so small, but they're kind of big at the same time. Like having like a plush version of the characters that we could hold and allow other people to have would be awesome. I think having Freddy and Orvil be animated, moving, Freddy actually talking, hearing what Orville's voice might actually sound like those are some really good fun goals. And then even more future than that would be, like on a national scale, maybe having it with a network and or just being a regular, big thing on YouTube or some other video platform would be great. Ultimately, just like you with your books as well, like it'd be cool to have that be a good chunk of income or like the thing that we're making money off of.
Yeah, that's the goal, man. Like
it's really
the
fun
only
to
reason I'm
create,
doing this.
and then to get it to that next step where it's also helping us, in our family and our well-being, like that'd be great. Be super awesome. But even if it
That's what's
doesn't,
up, dude.
again, as long as we have like a plush toy of it, I'm happy. Or like a 3D action figure, it'd be so cool.
Yeah. My goals are much
You guys,
smaller.
when we're done with the live stream, stick around in the broadcast studio. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of websites and services that I use because like I have merch now. Like I literally like do you think I made this?
Yes.
I didn't make this. Some professional made. I mean,
I don't know.
designed-
You're pretty amazing.
I assumed you're really good at ceramics and painting. I was like, this guy knows.
Dude,
That's
I've
what I was
already like
thinking.
I'm not published or anything, but I've got picture books, like I've got t-shirts, I got stuff
He's like,
going
I
on.
got pop-ups. I got
I got all this shit. So
hit the button, all this
I'm
stuff
gonna
just falls
I'm
from
gonna
the
build you
ceiling.
guys up with some stuff. I got
Yeah,
this
that would be
info.
great.
I love the sort of open-endedness of your view of this thing because it is so new, but I know that it's also not new at all.
Mhm.
It's been with you for 16 years. So it's going to be very interesting to me to see where you guys take it. I mean, already just by the Instagram stories part where you welcome your followers, you're already taking the idea that you had for that Instagram comic and taking that to the next level. You're already like starting to expand your idea. This thing, like when it's done, when I was a kid, one of my favorite books that I had was a gigantic collection of Calvin and Hobbes comics. It had all of
all
the Sunday paper strips,
Mhm.
as well as like full length comics, all of them in one gigantic book. And before bed every night, I would flip to a random page, and there would be 4 panels that were hysterical and thought provoking and amazing, and blew my mind every time. And sometimes I would start thinking that it was a one strip of 4 panels, and before I know it, they've taken me on a journey
Yep.
because it was actually one of the full length ones, and you just never knew when that was going to happen. And so I could totally see that as something that, you know, at least something similar to that happening with you guys in the future, because once you get 200 posts on your Instagram, you can easily collect that into a book and sell it in stores, man. Your own store,
Yeah.
online, your actual
And
stores.
that's kind of, I think for us, it's the fact that it's always been like this inside joke with us. But every time we've ever told it in front of other people, it's always made them laugh, and you know that gets really addicting. As we were talking about with comedy in general, right? Like writing comedy is difficult, but once you kind of you start hitting the right notes and getting the positive feedback of laughter and people being entertained, that becomes
Yeah.
on its own. And then so being able to just share it with more people ultimately is what we want out of anything. Is just we want everyone to kind of see Freddy and Orville, and if they really like it, that's awesome, because we love sharing that one thing that we love laughing at. Like we laugh at these panels probably the hardest before we put them out, and if it makes a few other people laugh that hard, we're like, yeah, mission accomplished.
You can see that
extra
in the
on top
comic.
of that
You
is
can
great.
see that it was something that made you guys laugh first.
Yeah,
It's very obvious because the humor is so specific to you
Yeah.
guys. From what I know of Gonzalo and what I am now learning of Matt, you know, like those elements are very apparent in those comics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can
By the way,
definitely see you guys doing that.
I want to interrupt, and I want to just thank you for comparing us to Calvin and Hobbes, because like that's huge for me. Like Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes, was a huge influence for me in comics and comic books. So like that was the biggest compliment you could ever like give me, and I hope like Matt's also taking it that way too. But like
Oh yeah.
that was I was
Calvin.
just like oh yes, thank you, Calvin and Hobbes.
Mind you, I don't feel comfortable saying I'm a fan, but I respect that work. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a that was he was definitely inspiration for me starting the comics and the comic strips. In fact, actually, because Freddy and Orville were a part of my senior project for school, so Matt helped me with that. And I cited Bill Watterson, Calvin and Hobbes, like as one of my inspirations for moving forward. So with that and like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac by Jonan Vasquez. So that shows you kind of
the range.
the range.
I can definitely see it in there, man. The whimsical sort of nature of the jokes and everything. The way that it's so childlike but thoughtful at the same time. Like that's classic Calvin and Hobbes.
Yes.
So we finally have some people coming into the chat.
Oh God!
My
Hey,
good friend
people.
Orla just showed up, and I said I thought you died. She said I'm late. I said I thought you died. And
Hey,
she
always
doesn't
better late than
understand
never, I would
why.
say.
Orla, it's because you always show up. You're the most reliable person on AuthorTube. You always show up. And
You're the best,
so
Orla.
the fact that you weren't here yet made me worry.
Yeah, very alarmed.
You know, I was concerned about you, but I'm happy that you're here. I don't
We
mind
called
that
the
you're late.
police.
It's fine. Speaking of which, Gonzalo and Matt, I told you guys an hour because I figured I was only going to be able to keep the children quiet for an hour max, but they're out of the house.
Oh,
and
Why am I
folks are
drinking
just
water?
now-
Hi, let's get
Yeah, dude, let's get funky. And people are just now starting to come into the chat. So if you guys can run long, let me know. If you can't, we'll still stop at 5. If you can stick around, we'll stick around a little longer and let this roll, because folks are just showing up. See, look, this is what I'm talking about.
see.
Like,
Oh, Orla is the best.
Everyone knows.
We like
everyone
you,
knows
Orla.
Everyone loves Orla. So we were just worried about you, babe. You're good.
Look at this person over here. Look at him. He's checking. He's looking for the little person. So
Wait,
where's
what
the
person?
little person? His mini me. That's what he calls him.
All right, I'm gonna switch this from my website to my Patreon. Because folks, I have a
Books by
Patreon.
Adrian.
I'm trying to quit my job, people.
for the lower price
Help
of
a brother
just
out.
10 cents a day.
You can support your local author.
For those of you in the chat and on the rewatch, I've got my site, my Discord, my Patreon, and my store, all linked in the description below. So check that stuff out, man. Because look, we got some cool stuff.
He hand paints
We got
those.
mugs.
He's an amazing ceramics artist.
I'm bad with the camera, but I can make a mean mug.
Yeah.
I was like Ghost.
I was gonna
Layered
say
joke. That's a good one.
he's got Patrick Swayze with him the whole time.
I make a mean mug.
He was massaging me
Yes.
as I was making this mug.
Oh,
Buy it, please.
my love.
I fucking love that movie.
It's a great
It
one.
holds up, man.
It,
Dude,
Whoopi
those like
Goldberg.
shadow creatures that come out, the demons that come out to like grab the bad people and bring them down to hell.
I think it's mostly
For a-
because they use a lot of good practical effects that still hold up.
Yeah.
you know? And they used it in the right way. There's some practical effects
Yeah.
that just get used poorly, but when you use it the right way, I think it holds up.
The penny up the door.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's like iconic, man.
Yeah.
For me, it was the sound of when the ghosts would physically like touch people, that like zoom, and then it would hit them. That always stuck with me. It was like such a profound sound. So for me, I always feel like if I'm ever gonna have an interaction with a poltergeist, that's the sound they're gonna make. So I'm always listening. I'm like, where's the? I'm like a
There's
bag
like
of
five-
trees. I'm like, does somebody wanna? Do I need the?
That's a great comment.
That is. See, for 10 cents a day, you can support your authors.
Yeah.
Or in my case, $3 a month.
Oh,
That's a
there you go.
one-time, just cut the middleman. You know what I mean? Just you don't need that coffee. Get
Or
that
let's
out.
picking up what I'm putting down right here.
We just want to write about people, not work with them.
You know what I'm saying? We want to dissect the human mind from a distance.
From a distance. You want a piece of glass in between it,
Stay
and a
back.
roof and a house and a few thousand miles.
We just want to think about what people are like, not actually know them.
That's why I'm always suspicious of. So this one time I was out at this bar. It was kind of it's in a hipster part of Los Angeles, and it felt like it because I'm at this bar and the bar is loud. There's really bad lighting. It's all sorts of craziness going on. I look over at the bar, and there's a gentleman there in a very used and worn in blazer with some very short corduroys, some really nice socks, some nice slip-on loafers across his legs.
I find it interesting that you focused on the socks.
Okay,
That's what I was thinking.
If you saw
Very
him,
telling.
you'd see the socks first, then you'd realize it was a person. So then he's sitting, and he's got a little book, and he's just writing. He's just sitting there looking around at everyone, and then writing some more. And I'm like, dude, this is not the place doing a little writing exercise at like 12 o'clock at night in this loud ass bar. Like, there's no way you're writing stuff. Like, there's just no way. Like, you're not a true.
I don't know, man. He might have been. There's some That's something I'm learning is that there's some weird
He's like, Craig?
writers
Craig?
in this world. No, I'm serious. Like there are some who like have to write at a diner. It has to be like they can't write anywhere else. You know?
So his was
Some
a
that
very
need it
loud
to be
record.
completely quiet, some that need music. In my case, I usually need music to write, but it has to be like movie scores or instrumentals, something without lyrics. Because then I get distracted by the lyrics. You know, or I'll start jamming.
Totally get that, man.
Yeah.
So
I listen to
I'll take soundtracks from movies that make me feel the way what I'm writing I want that to make the reader
that
feel.
mood,
So like
okay.
that's
It's
what
almost
I
like it's
listen
the
to like
soundtrack
as I
to
write.
what you're putting to the page.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I could probably make like a Spotify playlist or something that would be like the perfect soundtrack for my novel, and you could. That might be a neat project. I might do
I was
that.
gonna
Where
say
you
that might
just
actually be a really fun
you
project.
hit play, you open the first page, and let it ride.
That'd be awesome.
That would be very cool.
That's how actually I want to read your book. I would like that playlist.
Yeah.
Well, damn,
just
now I
like
have to do it. See, I just keep giving
click.
myself more work, so like my time frame keeps expanding.
Yeah.
It's never gonna get done.
It's the life of a creator, man. You gotta jump on those good ideas.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You have the power.
It's
All right,
so
hold up.
distracting.
What do we got here?
Me too.
I was gonna say that's so weird. I think a
That's-
soft drink actually. It's a soft drink.
Every author
and a mild
has their
Cabana Boy.
process.
my Cabana Boy doesn't have to be cute. He can be.
He doesn't even have to wear.
In fact,
sandals.
Matt, we can trade shifts.
I'll make some time. I'll make time.
Cute Cabana Boy.
That's funny.
Right. So, what do you have coming down the pipeline? Like, how many would you say your backlog is? I guess what I'm asking you, like, for Freddy and Orvil.
So we have 2 more weeks of content coming up. So I'd say 9. 2 more weeks. Probably less than that. So maybe like we'll say 6 to 9 more like comics. Gonzo's already drafted up a bunch. I just got to make a bunch of stuff pretty, and then we have a couple of more jokes that we just haven't put to paper yet. And then
you got a nice conveyor belt going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it feels like it was a well of jokes that we've always kind of casually talked about. So now we've actually tapped the well. So now the ideas are just gushing out like crazy. So right now the ideas are plentiful. So we should be good at least until the quarantine ends in 3 years. You know, we'll be good.
Yeah.
This is good stuff, man. I feel really good about your comment because as soon as I saw the first one on your Instagram, you know, as soon as Gonzalo sent me the link, I didn't know that you guys had already started it. And that's why I jumped on you guys so fast, because as soon as I saw the first one, I immediately remembered the original, and that spirit was still there. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And I just started scrolling through them, and the few that you have so far, I laughed my ass off. So like
thank you.
I had to jump on this because I definitely see it like growing naturally. Just keep your pace, you know, don't slow down, and you guys are gonna
Cool. I mean, that's the plan. That's the plan. We have, because I guess as far as like content goes, we have
like 20 plus from high school that we made.
From high school, yeah, just a whole book.
And that's where we have to refine those, because there wasn't really an audience. Of course, I don't know why 2 high school kids, like we can't explain it, why 2 high school kids made like 20 comics on a story that there was no audience for or social media at the time to kind of share with.
There was no social media. That's right. There was no way for us to get it out there.
But we were making it for someone, and apparently we were making it for ourselves 16 years later.
Yeah.
I've never been a good artist, but as a kid, I would trace over my comic books and I would like create my own stories by like putting them together in different order. You know what I mean? So like I wanted to tell stories from elementary school, and all I knew was comic books back then. You know, I wasn't reading books. I was reading comic books. And so it was a very visual thing. Storytelling is a very visual thing for me. Even though I'm writing a novel, I'm trying to make it like cinematic almost. Like I'm trying to make it like an image in your head as clearly as I can without, you know, going overboard on the detail. Nobody cares what the orange tastes like. They know what the orange tastes like. So it's like,
Are you sure about that?
because
Because it tastes like purple to me.
What does your
Tastes
orange
like an
taste like?
what is consciousness?
What
Am
is
I
doing?
perceiving?
What
what
is
you're
doing?
perceiving? Are
Whose
we
show is
perceiving the
this?
same
What,
thing?
what's show is
What-
Where are we? Everyone knows what the orange tastes like. So that comes from comic books, you know. Comic books led me to movies, but it all even in novels, like it all comes to me down to the image that you make in the head and the imagination that you're engaging with the audience. Comic books and comics like yours have this thing where it shows you frozen moments in time, and the reader fills in the in between with their own imagination. And so you have to create as clear an image in that one moment that you're capturing and the next one in order for them to get the right flow in between. And so that's a very difficult thing to do. Have either of you done any other storytelling besides this? Is this your first time putting written material out into the world, or have you done it before in some other way?
Do you want to go first, Gabba?
Okay, I'll go first. So I was gonna have you go, but you got there faster. So as far as like putting written material out there, I mean, I guess I was 14, 15. I published a few poems, like poetry, and it was part of like, again, school project, but my teacher encouraged me to put it out there. And so I published a few poems online, and then again, like later on in high school, I had this really inspiring English teacher who, like, he actually kind of helped me push forward writing comedy, because he would give us assignments and he wouldn't tell us what to write about. So he would say, I want you to write compare and contrast. I don't care what you write about. And I was like, well, can I write about, like, you know, like something edgy or funny or something like that? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I did, and I just wrote like crazy things, and went just wild with it, as wild as a 16-year-old kid can go with how they write.
Which is
It was
pretty
wild.
insane, yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Super wild. Yeah. And he would, like, instead of being like, why are you handing me this terrible story about a wolf man turning into a dove and then becoming the prince of a town called Puplata, like, he would be like, okay, so I can see where you were going with this, and, maybe change this. And he's like, this wasn't funny, so maybe try something different here. Yeah. And then he would just give it back to me, and he'd grade it. He graded it. And so it encouraged me to do more. So as far as like writing and putting stuff out there, like, that was probably my first experience with like that portion of it. And I just took all of that training into what we do now. But Matt has done a lot of creative stuff and put it out there.
Yeah. Well, I think what made it was so I went to school for animation. So originally my plan in life was to become an animator, make a cartoon. That was like my ultimate life goal. And then got sidetracked doing, getting involved in this one industry that kind of took me everywhere around the country. Yeah. It was a traveling tour. It was really, it was obscene in some cities. We weren't really popular in the South, but you know, if you went farther south,
seen the lines.
popular, you know what I'm saying?
The deep South.
No, I got involved in indoor skydiving, which is vertical wind tunnels and flying around. And so I gave up my dream of animation and pursued that for quite a while. But I'd say I kind of came back to creating stories and content with a show that I developed with another friend of ours named James called Windy Tube. Yeah, so Windy Tube, it's like a comedy show that basically talks shit about the indoor skydiving industry, in particular the one company that's based out of the U.S.
That's a very specific.
Well, so it's a very niche. It's a niche industry, right? With, I mean, a very, very small group of people that actually compete in it. But within that world, right, skydiving and indoor skydiving, I mean, it's just, there's people all over the world, and it's huge in Europe. But yeah, we developed the show as kind of like a way to poke fun at the industry as a whole. So we were creating content, writing small skits, and I think that's where I started kind of going back to that animation background of setting up shots, setting up, you know, like, oh, this would be funny here, that would be funny there. And then that kind of all carried over into with Gonzalo here, because, you know, with COVID and everything, it kind of shut down the tunnels. And right now that industry is kind of in a really dark place. And so I'm sitting here just egging to create more, and it's time, you know, it was time to push this out into the world. So it's been really fun.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, COVID has affected so many people that way, because I started this deal like maybe, I want to say, no, 5 or 6 months before like quarantine first began. No, that's not even right. I started like right before.
Lying.
I'm fucking lying to you. No, it was like maybe 2 months before, actually, because I remember that like my first regular like vlog video where I was just catching people up on my channel was like my first COVID quarantine check-in kind of thing. So it was really early. I had just barely gotten started. Now I started writing the novel before that, but I had gotten far along enough that I felt I could start dividing my focus and do this YouTube thing. And it's really interesting how like COVID has afforded everybody a lot of time to get things done. Things that they have been putting off for years, things that they've always wanted to do, were never brave enough to do. You get bored enough, you're gonna do it. So it's been an oddly creative time in our country, don't you think? Like a lot of creatives are really putting their stuff out there now.
But I think it's the I was telling my wife, it's like, you know, you're alone with your thoughts, you know. Some people involuntarily, right, because of, you know, unfortunately losing your job or something the like of. But I think it comes down to now you're given the one thing that you always thought you never had, which is time to learn or time to do. It's really amazing.
And in an age where it's all at your fingertips.
Exactly.
Like, that's the other thing. Like you can get on YouTube and learn about anything. You can get on Skillshare. You can get on whatever it is that you're using to like masterclass, whatever it is.
And that's what I think people are discovering, right? They're starting to finally tap into these other avenues of knowledge and skill learning that they probably knew were there, but they didn't realize how easy it was to accomplish. And so now you're just seeing it. Like I tried to grab a sewing machine, and I went to this sewing machine repair shop, and the amazing woman was she was like, yeah, I mean, everyone's trying to make masks and make sweaters now, I guess. She's like, we've had like such a boom in sales. I'm like, oh, I mean, that's great, but it sucks because I really wanted a nice sewing machine, so now I have to settle this.
She just handed you a needle.
But sewing, right?
Needle and thread.
From my
Yeah.
brief experience, is much more challenging than I thought it would be. But at the same time, obviously, there was a great number of people not doing that before that are now learning how to sew. And that's just one thing. So I agree with you. Like, it's been, I think, great for creatives worldwide, which is awesome.
I have a mask available in my store,
Yeah.
and I didn't even have to sew it.
Really?
Oh,
Look at
but
this
you
guy.
made
He's
such a
like,
nice mug.
You want a
Um,
threadless mask? I got you.
you want a
Wait,
man?
is it just a mug, like
got
with
the
string
money.
tied
Yeah,
to
it's
it?
actually his store is just made up of various mugs, right? Like the shirt is a bunch of pieces of a mug, right? Like,
Stores that never in a million years would have thought to sell masks are selling masks now. It's really
Oh, yeah.
interesting, man.
oh,
It's
there's so many
bizarre.
things. They're just
And it's becoming a form of expression for people.
Mhm.
You know, like what you have on your mask says something about you.
well. That's where so when
It's
Gonzo
interesting.
sent me the idea for the Florida comic, I was like, that is hilarious. But we couldn't figure out an ending. You know, there was we were tied up on what to call it or like what it could be at the end. And then so that's where we
that final like punchline.
yeah, and then we found, like, oh yeah, we call this the Florida. I'm like, wow, that's like that great line. And because you can make a panel that's comedic about wearing a mask when a year ago that wouldn't have been funny to anybody. Or the fact that we can call it the Florida and the joke is understood.
And everyone knows what you mean. Everyone is well aware. I live in Gainesville, Florida, but I'm also from Buffalo, New York. I like to say that I have a little north in me, a little south in me. I'm originally Puerto Rican, so I've got some island in me. And so I see all those different like viewpoint areas in culture, and everyone knows what you mean by the Florida.
And that's what I'm saying there. Like, we wouldn't have been able to make that joke a year ago. That wouldn't have been relevant. It would have formed itself as something else. But now because the mask has become a fashion statement, a political statement, a comedic statement, it's just, you can do so many things with that damn thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really curious to see where you guys are gonna go with it too, because, like I said, it already feels like it's gonna be a long running like thing that you can collect someday in a book. I can't wait to see where it goes, because you have these little topical things like the mask, but like one of my favorites is the one where the little guy fucking explodes.
Orville.
And Freddy is like, I know a guy who paid $10 to see that. Like, it's so simple, it's so quick, it's too, boom. It's such a clean punchline, you know what I mean? But you follow it up in the very next one, where he does it again behind a dumpster for the guy for $10. And I love that you're laughing at it. It's your comic, it's your joke, and you're laughing at it because it's that silly. It's that like, but it's that simple. It's a solid punch of comedy, and that's what I really like about your comic. There's only a couple people in the chat right now. I think it's just Ginny and Orla. But if either of you were hounded by my incessant promotion of today's live stream, you may have gone to the Freddy and Orvil Instagram. You may have checked it out. If you did, let us know what you think. If you have questions, give these guys some questions. Like, I don't know, let's get you guys a little more involved. I know that normally in AuthorTube live streams, it's very interactive with the chat, but I always intended this one to be a little different. It's more of a, I don't know,
waxing creative, talking shop.
Yeah. And what was funny is the whole time you were talking about people learning to sew and sewing masks, and when we went to the whole thing about she didn't have the sewing machine for you, so she gives you a needle and thread. All I kept thinking of was one of my favorite jokes on Scrubs, which is akin to what we're talking about with your style. I don't know if either of you ever watched that show.
He did a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Gaza knows what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
I owned
So-
like every season.
Twice.
I'm the biggest fan. I'm the biggest Scrubs fan. We may have already like bonded over that way back in the
Oh, yeah,
day. It's just been
absolutely.
a while.
Back
It's just been
in the-
So one of my favorite jokes on that show.
No.
The janitor is really excited about wearing shorts and about JD wearing shorts with him to work. So the janitor has his wife make him a pair of Scrubs shorts. They are way too short. So JD doesn't want to wear them. And so he shows up not wearing them. The janitor is upset and hurt that his friend is not wearing shorts. The dude tells him, I can't wear shorts to work. I'm a doctor. I can't do it. It's not up to me. And the janitor is like, okay, cool. But then he finds the shorts in a dumpster.
Oh no!
And he goes, mentiroso. And so he goes to confront JD about it. And he shows him the dirty, disgusting, like trashed shorts. And tells him how offended he is that he won't wear them. And JD says, what's the big deal? Your wife just cut off a pair of Scrubs and hemmed the bottom. What's the big deal? And the janitor goes, well, the good Lord didn't bless my wife with all 10 digits. She only has pointer and thumb pinky. And then he does this. And it's the entire episode, this storyline with these stupid shorts has been building to one punchline. And it's pointer and thumb pinky.
I remember that. His face
And
is
that's
so
what I'm
serious,
talking
too.
about.
But,
Like,
but I love those. I love building up to an effective punchline that
Yeah.
like, eclipses everything leading up to it, to where that's all you think
Oh,
of
yeah.
is that one line.
a really great punchline like that will make all of the setups suddenly fall into place
Mhm.
like Tetris. Like all of a sudden,
Well, that
everything
makes
makes sense.
The rewatch, right? Even more like you're seeing it again for the first time because now you know what to kind of catch as it's leading up. Like, oh, I didn't catch that before. Oh, look at that. That's actually leading up. Yeah. I love it when good writing does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We've got some feedback going about the comic. Super funny. Didn't realize it was a comic though. Like, I had to scroll through, but I'm telling you. I'm glad you figured it out, Orla. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us.
Well,
She's like,
they
it was
are
great
super cute
before, but
pictures.
now
They are. They're adorable.
they are pretty cute. My 2-year-old loves them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh.
All right, guys.
Good payoff.
So, you know how I told you my kids were out of the house?
Now they're back.
Here they come.
Okay.
It's 5:05. I think I'm gonna call it a night with you guys because it's about to get really loud in here. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Everybody in the chat, go to the website. I'm sorry, Matt and Gonzalo, parting words.
Submit to us. That's all.
Like and follow Freddy and Orvil.
I think he means follow.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry.
Also, much appreciated. Thank you so much for bringing us on so early in our Freddy and Orville career. And
Yes,
man.
Yeah.
Hey, we're excited to see
This is Charlie.
where you go with your books by Adrian, and hopefully we can catch up.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Stick
for
around.
being here.
I'm going to talk to you guys in the broadcast studio. I'll end the broadcast, but if you don't do anything, you should still be in here.
Okay.
I'm not positive. We'll figure it out. Gonzalo,
I'm
you
hands
were gonna
off.
say?
Oh, I was just saying, like Matt said, thank you so much for having us. This was fun. This was really good. It was nice to be able to talk about the creative process and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, your comic is so good. Keep it going, and you're golden. Like, you've got books in your future, and you know what? Matt knows how to animate stuff. You guys can make your own cartoon someday with this. I got all the confidence in the world on you.
We'll have our own mugs. We're gonna have our own mugs.
Yeah,
You will
and
have
our
your
own
own
mug
mugs.
masks.
I'm gonna make that happen. Now, stick around for just a second. I'm gonna mute you guys. I'll unmute you guys in a minute. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Everybody on the rewatch, I hope you enjoy, because I put a little extra mustard sauce on this particular live stream for rewatchability. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.